We've seen some pickup basketball footage of James Harden, and with playing with other NBA players. I think one that was the big one was playing against other the Raptors team. You got Thaddeus Young, Scotty Barnes, a bunch of guys in that team. But Sixers fans have gotten overly excited about offseason tapes in the past. It's one thing to hit open jumpers against, a guy holding a training pad, and it's another to do it against other NBA players, which James Harden did it against Thaddeus Young in the videos that we've seen. I'm kind of alluding to the LA Fitness shots of, Ben Simmons knocking down threes, knocking down mid-range jumpers, thinking that that's going to change. And then when we get to the season, that doesn't happen. But then Harden, we talked about mid-range. He was doing that against Thaddeus Young and other NBA players in the videos that we've seen. So, I mean, how much stock do you put into these summer pickup games, Eric?
I mean, for me, it's more of a keeping your feel and keeping your game cardio and practice cardio up. I don't put more into it than that. See the guys playing basketball, they're playing. But more than that, I don't see it as something that he's going to come back as this dominant player. I think that helps, and it helps you get a feel for the game and, get to play outside of just doing your individual workouts. But we all know where guys get better. I mean, that helps. That's a part of it. But the other grind and taking care of yourself and the weight room and individual workouts, it has to be a combination of things. So I would imagine that that's going on. And if that's going on, then it'll all benefit.
Teja, I know you're one who has gotten you've never been overly excited about the offseason videos. I've usually been the one to come with you, like, you see this, and you're like, all right, well, relax.
Maybe a few years ago, you only get snake bitten so many times before you don't give a shit anymore. As far as this one though, I mean, first and foremost, I agree with Eric. I just like seeing guys involved, like seeing them play basketball like full court in the offseason. It's just nice. I like seeing guys participate. Especially Harden playing all these pickup games. It means I don't know if they're showing more this year than other years, and maybe because of like COVID and stuff in the past, they weren't playing as much, but it seems like we're seeing a lot more this year. I don't know why. It's just cool to see them competing. Like hitting open jumpers is fine. I do like seeing guys work on their game, whether it's against 10 guys or just alone, but I love seeing guys play other guys are going to face in the league in a few months. Right. Especially nowadays where everything's documented, it's filmed, everything's posted out there. Sometimes you might be worried about guys putting themselves out there to possibly get embarrassed, or if they look out of shape, or if they lost a step, and possibly in Harden's case, like you saw that DeJounte Murray, what's the dude's name?
Paolo Ranchero.
Yeah, you saw that tape where all the talking shit and embarrassing him and all that kind of stuff, and turns into a beef. I mean, it can spiral into that. You can. I mean, it's crazy that these games can form like a little rivalry that goes into the season, right? But it's cool just to see Harden out there cutting loose and not afraid to play in those kind of games, and test out some new stuff like the mid range.
Teja said something interesting, Eric, and obviously back when you played, there wasn't, not everyone had a phone, that could film everything, right? Like, so, were there a lot of these these pickup games that you guys would play against other
guys? Did it all the time. I mean, guys, I moved to Georgia, Atlanta. When I moved there because during the offseason, that's where we worked out and we played. So that's how I ended up there for that reason.
Oh, wow.
So you have, Atlanta was a hot spot. Houston was a hot spot. LA was always a hot spot. Vegas had started, guys would come into Vegas. And those were kind of the hot spots during the offseason. It was nice places to live and warmer weather, and it was places to work out. Because the one thing about NBA players, a lot of those guys do work out and they like to play. But when I played, a lot of people wouldn't play with just anybody. Like, you want to play with like-minded people that have the same interests as you, and not someone that's coming out there and trying to show you that they're better than you or they should be where you're at. So it was a lot of people that, you kind of knew where the runs were. So people would come into town for a week, work out with that place, or maybe go somewhere else, and just so you can mix up your workouts. It wouldn't just be individuals, so you would have a chance to play. Even if it was just 3-on-3, 1-on-1s, whatever it was, you're playing against pros, and that's what people kind of did. I know a lot of guys that I knew in the league that I'd never played with, that I spent a lot of time with, was because we worked out at the same time. And this was all before you ended up going to your team and meeting early before training camp officially started.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you see these things like Teja and I were watching the New York City Point Gods documentary. A lot of these guys in the offseason are going to parks and playing and stuff. And so obviously, pickup games have been going on for many, many, many years. But now we're starting to see behind the scenes stuff with everyone having a smartphone who can film all these things.
Yeah, I mean, it's you just see it more, like most things.
Yeah.